What's going on, everybody? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt. I'm your brand strategy lead here at Gun, and we're live with a community check-in. Before we get into the community check-in, I want to address the chicken in the room. Yeah, there you go. Yesterday, Wes was feeling a little under the weather, and overnight that turned into fully under the weather. So Wes is out sick today. I hope he's getting rest and feeling better soon. So I'm going to be running this one solo. Now, before I have a bunch of notes I want to cover here and things I want to talk about. Before I get into that, I want to make a couple of things clear. This is not a showing off the new killer stream. This isn't the new family member. This isn't new content. We're not pushing anything at you guys today. And the reason I want to say that right at the jump is because I know that a lot of y'all are expecting us to be like, hey, check out this new family member, check out this new execution pack, whatever the case is. That's not really the goal of this stream. You know, we know the situation with the game right now. Obviously, I think you guys realize we're very in touch with our community, and you know, we see what's going on and some of the frustrations that are happening. And so we had some things we wanted to address, and we felt like the best way to get that done is to sit down and be in front of the camera and get these things said. It's kind of part of the way this all works, having to occasionally sit down and you know, the nature of the check in with you guys, talk about some of these things and get some things ironed out and talked about. So yeah, like I said, you know, new family member, we'll have news on that soon enough. I'll talk a little bit about what's going on there and all of that within my notes. As well as the other pieces of new content that we've got planned. We've got a lot of things to cover. I'm also going to take some of your questions, but I want to save that for the end. Let me get through this outline. Let's talk about these things that kind of are the genesis of why we're even here for this stream, and then we can worry about some questions from the chat. So you might notice our chat's in slow mode. Just if you have an important question, just hang on to it for later, and I'll get to as many of those as I can. So that being said, first off, I hope you're all having a great day. And, you know, me and Nugget are going to try and get through this outline now. There he is. Yeah, thank you, Rob. Oh, and by the way, quick shout out to our producer, Rob. He's over there running everything for me.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
And keeping things ironed out here. And so, yeah, like I said, I have this checklist. We're going to get into that now. And the first one that we want to talk about is lobbies and, you know, more importantly, what's going on with the lobby situation. You know, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and I want to put some huge caveats on this. It's not the only thing we're facing, but currently, the number one issue with lobbies is players dodging. And, you know, I know that can be frustrating for the community to hear. And I know it feels like, well, I mean, come on, it can't just be that. And, you know, I'm not saying that it is only that. The point that with bringing up the dodging situation, the dodging problem with lobbies is that whole situation is kind of making it difficult for the team to unpack what else might be going on with lobbies. You know, we've been hunting down the what's been referred to as a backfill issue. We've been trying to look into that kind of a thing for a long time now, going back to shortly after launch. And there were some changes that we made, and the problem with that investigation, though, is all of this lobby dodging stacked on top of it is making it difficult for us to try and see if there is anything going on, anything further going on, and if there is something going on, what that might be and how we can fix it. We need to make some kind of moves in order to limit the way lobby dodging is right now. And I think that if you've played this game for any amount of time, you've certainly heard well, if the other team has this family member, I'm dodging. If they have that victim, I'm dodging. If they're this rank, I'm dodging. If they're that rank, I'm dodging. If they're running this grandpa perk, I'm dodging. If it's that map, all of these reasons to dodge lobbies. And while we understand that players want to have that kind of control over the game mode they want to play, that is definitely impacting the situation with lobbies, both from a player experience standpoint and from the team, you know, in terms of the team trying to investigate what might be going on. We need to get that under control. What that means and what that looks like, we'll have more news on that as we roll those things out. I'll talk a little bit more about some patch cadence things coming up, but expect us to be making some changes in terms of how lobbies function on the side of lobby dodging, because we really need to rein that in if we're going to be able to diagnose what's going on. But again, that's not us saying, hey, it's entirely a dodge problem. It's more a matter of we can't get to that without cutting the dodge problem off, and exposing what might or might not be going on underneath. So that's that. The next thing I wanted to bring up is the 90 days. We definitely targeted a lot of content within that 90 days. And as you guys, I'm sure a lot of you realize, and we've heard on socials and such, we're running right up to that. I mean, we didn't really set the 90-day thing out with like a hard exact day, like the 18th is when this is up. It was more a matter of we felt confident with that 90 days. Now, obviously, we're running up to that 90 days, and some of that content that we talked about, namely the new family member, a new game mode, you've heard us talk about museum mode, and an execution pack, that stuff is obviously going to slip from that 90-day timeline. Basically, the short answer and the short explanation there is the content was not where we wanted it to be yet. And rather than put out content that we felt was not up to snuff, rather than put that out and, just so we could meet this 90-day mark, we decided to hold it. We're holding it until we can get it to a point that we feel confident and comfortable with. That being said, I don't think any of the work that we have going on there is some insurmountable task. It's not that any of that content is in jeopardy of not seeing the light of day. It's more just a matter of it needed a little more time in the oven. As far as when we will show, because again, like I said at the top of the stream, this isn't like a big preamble to check out the new. This is more about having an honest and frank kind of chat with you guys. As far as when we'll share that new family member, just keep an eye on our socials and all of our channels for that. The one thing that I also want to note about that, shifting out of this 90 days and those pieces of content slipping from the 90-day timeline, that has no bearing on the longevity of the game. It's not some kind of red flag or warning sign of any kind of problems. We still have all of the content we've been planning to put out. You've seen Wes tweet about content through the 1-year anniversary as well as through the end of 2024. This content slipping out of that 90-day window is not, it's not, a sign of anything, shortening, basically, is what I'm trying to say. We plan to continue to support Texas Chain Saw Massacre in and through 2024 to the end. That hasn't changed with this. It's just, we're not going to put this stuff out just so we can say, yep, checkbox, we made the 90-day mark, if it's not where we want it to be. Now, somewhat tied to that, again, not fully to blame, but a part of that is our development partner transition. I know a lot of you guys have been checking in on that and asking about that. Obviously transitions like this, they're not without hiccups. It's a big undertaking. We're doing our best to make sure that this impacts the player base as little as possible. That being said, we're making good progress and we're cleaning up a lot of those processes that it takes in order to get this stuff done, both content and fixes. Through that, though, we're kind of uncovering some things that we have to kind of put some attention to. And so, like I said, it's not without its hiccups, but, we're all feeling pretty positive about the transition. We have a lot of cool things coming. And I do have some of the bright sides to that, transition of our development partner coming up later in this outline that we can discuss. Basically that development transition, it's still in place. It's still kind of taking place. And again, like I said, I'd be lying if I said it was without hurdles, but we're tackling those, teasing out the problems, untangling things, and getting things figured out. We're all confident here that in the long term, this works out really well for the player base. And so while we appreciate your patience with us for the time being, we're confident that you'll see the benefits of all of this work now in, within a month to come. Another thing I wanted to, this is a good one. The perk patch. This is thrown out a lot. There's a lot of questions about the perk patch. I wanted to kind of, first off, provide a little insight into what we mean when we say perk patch. We have a lot of smaller changes to perks that have gone into pretty much, the community team can call me a liar. I think they would probably know better than me. Shout out our community team moderating in the chat. I feel like every patch we've done since launch has had some kind of a shift to different perks. Those are usually value changes. You'll notice that a lot of those are like, we're adjusting the amount of, percentages at each of the 3 levels for a perk and things like that. Those value changes, as we refer to them, they've been, spread out through all of our patches so far. That's not the perk patch. That's the constant work that happens in a live game. The bigger perk patch is more about moving perks around in the skill trees. Maybe assigning a perk to a character who currently doesn't have an option in their skill tree to have that perk, like Sunny and things like that. That would be the bigger perk patch. That's a bigger undertaking, and that will be better work if done all at once. Zoom out a bit and look at the trees and all of the different characters and how they're playing and kind of really go in with intent. That's not onesie, twosie value changes. So that is still coming. While, as I said, the work is detailed and it's extensive, it's ongoing, and we hope to have more news on that later in the spring to the early summer. But yeah, keep an eye out for that, because I think that's really what the community is looking for with these perk changes. And it's kind of being misunderstood as these like 2, 3, or even 5 and 6 perks getting changed as the perk patch, when really that's just the maintenance that you do in a live game. And on that topic, there are, I want to say, 6 perks getting some of those value changes coming up pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. On the topic of patches, our next patch is April 30th. The April 30th patch is going to be mainly fixes. There's one piece of content in that. It's a new cosmetic for a family member. We'll give you more details on that at a later time as we get a little closer to the 30th. But yes, the next patch is April 30th. And with that, it leads into the next point, which is we're aiming for a patch every 2 weeks from here out. So we'll have a patch April 30th, and we're aiming to have another patch 2 weeks following that, and 2 weeks following that, and on and on and on. A couple of important notes on that patching schedule and kind of cadence. Some of those will be mainly content with some fixes, and some of those will be mainly fixes with some content. The way that'll probably most often work is going to be patch A is, for instance, the April 30th patch is mainly fixes with one cosmetic content. The patch 2 weeks later will be mainly content with a couple of fixes. And then 2 weeks after that, you'll get a patch with mainly fixes and a piece of content or two, and on and on and on. And that's kind of the rhythm we're looking to hit. Part of what's going on now, when we talked about the dev transition and some of those processes we're ironing out, is the framework to make that possible. Make those, what is that, fortnightly? Oh, that's a terrible word. The fortnightly patch schedule happen. So, yeah, a big part of that is the process and, refinements to the process that we're making now. From there on out, in terms of cadence and timing of things, the team is targeting to drop a new cosmetic every 2 weeks for the next few months at least, if not into the foreseeable future. We're pretty confident we can keep that pace up. But currently, again, because we don't want to overpromise and get ourselves into a stitch, we know for the next few months we're targeting a new cosmetic drop every 2 weeks. So that's going to be family and victim cosmetics. It's one cosmetic per drop. A lot of you have asked about why would we share only one cosmetic per drop, and that's to kind of make sure that we're keeping these things sprinkled throughout, keeping these things, keeping you guys with something to look forward to in terms of a content piece. So even when we do have that fortnightly patch that's mostly fixes, we have a piece of content that we can sprinkle in there for you guys. The victim cosmetics will be packs like they are now, where it's a new outfit and then recolors for that outfit. The family cosmetics will be one outfit only, similar to like Bride Sissy and Shirtless Johnny. Because of this, the family outfits are at a little bit of a reduced price. They're only $2.99 for a family outfit. And we also have some really cool free things coming, which, again, not going to say much more on now. But we have, matter of fact, I want to say we have a very cool free thing coming April 30th. So another thing to keep an eye on. And that's that about covers my outline. There is one extra thing actually that I wanted to mix in here that doesn't exist in the outline. You may have seen on Reddit, our community manager at large, Sid, has posted a little bit of an update about what's going on with Leatherface. If you haven't, please go check that out. You can head to the Reddit and filter by developer response as a flare. You can also find in the sidebar of the Reddit our entire community team, and clicking any of their names will bring up their post and comment history, and you can find things that way. But basically, there's some things going on with Leatherface. There was a problem with family members not receiving door stuns. In the kind of a bit of the work that went into trying to get that resolved, some in-progress work has made its way into the live build. Now, this is, again, leans into that transition talk that we talk about with the development partners and how we're kind of moving some things around and changing some processes. And with that, something that is not ready for prime time made it into prime time. And basically, so Leatherface is acting a little strange right now in game. The first thing I wanted to note, which Sid noted in the comment pretty clearly, but I wanted to reiterate, what you're seeing there is not final. So don't think that's how that Leatherface is going to be from now on. That's very much in progress and incomplete work. So it's important to keep that in mind. Basically, we need to tune things with Leatherface a bit. We're looking at ways we can kind of give Leatherface a little bit more of an imposing kind of personality in the match and be a little bit more of a threat and a little more resilient to stuns and things. Where that all lands, we don't quite know for sure yet. So again, like I said, what you're seeing in game right now is by no means permanent or in no means the, what is eventually going to make it into the game. That being said, what will make it into the game, I can't share any more details with you about that right now. And I know that frustrates a lot of you when we say, we can't share anything more about that. Stay tuned. This is a good opportunity for us to talk about what that all means, though. And a huge part of what that means is the team is still working through that. And I'm not going to tell you where they're at right now because that's not where they're going to land. We have to let them cook, as we like to always say. So basically, a lot of frustration over the stay tuned thing. That's one of the biggest motivators behind it. We're trying to make sure that we let our people do what they do best. And let's be honest, the game that you guys are all rabidly in love with is the game that it is because we let them cook. And so we have to let them do their work on this Leatherface thing before we can talk more about it. So I know you don't want to hear another stay tuned from me, but by the same note, it's important to occasionally talk about this and get this out in the open about, these are the same people responsible for the game that you love, responsible for all that potential and all that you see in the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. So, when the community team hits you with a, hey, stay tuned, or we'll have more details on that later, just know that behind the scenes, there's people over here doing what they do best, and we need to give them the room to do it. So with all that being said, I know a lot of you wanted to hear, oh, the new thing is coming now, this new thing's coming now, or, whatever the case is, and you're not getting that today. Just being honest, I felt that we felt as a team that it was more important to sit down and talk through these things and just put a person in front of the camera, so to speak, that can address these topics that are bugging you guys without it being like all just a preamble up to us marketing the next part of the game for you. I'm going to jump into some questions now. And, again, we've got chat, I want to say, in slow mode. So feel free to start tossing your questions in now. I see a bunch in there already that I can tackle. And we'll get through as many as we can in a bit here. And then we're going to call this one done. First off, I see here, what about Bloodskin and 4 Execution for Nancy? We're working on catching up characters like Nancy. I'll put it this way. It's in the works. It's in the plans. But we have to kind of figure out how we want to roll those out, because obviously those bloody packs and things like that all kind of came out before Nancy existed. So how do we go about adding Nancy to the bloody execution pack? Do we even worry about adding it to the pack? And on and on and on. But it is something that we know our Nancy fans want to see. So it's definitely a part of it. And as far as executions, yeah, we're always trying to make sure that we're covered and shooting extras there. But again, ongoing stuff with the next execution pack, which was mentioned within the 90 days, that's also still being ironed out and worked on. Are there any plans to change the grappling mechanic? The rate that they are occurring to do objectives right now in front of family has become excessive. Agreed. The grappling situation has become meta and a bit strange. The team's confident in the change to the third man in, as I like to refer to it, which is previously, if you were in a grapple, another family member could show up and instantly kill you. We didn't really feel like that was working out how we had wanted it to, so we stand by the change there. But with a major change like that, we have all these other kind of ripple effects that we have to tackle. Perks, obviously tuning some of the perks related to grapples, maybe even tuning the grapple balance, victim and family. All of that stuff has to now happen. When you change something as major as that third man in being able to instant kill, you're going to have kind of aftershocks of the earthquake. And right now we're working on those. That's why you're seeing us talk about things like changes to Empowered, changes to Grappler, changes to some of those perks. And then we'll evaluate again and see if there's more that needs to be done. So yeah, it's absolutely on the table. But again, this is incremental work that has to happen. Sunny buff when? I like to think that some of the things that are coming in the perk patch count as Sunny buffs. But we hear you loud and clear on that. And again, that's one of those areas where we're letting design cook. We're going to let them do what they've got to do, and we'll have more on that as soon as it's ready for consumption. But we hear you on Sunny. I love Sunny. I think Sunny's a great character. He's, Sunny and Connie are what I still roll with. As much as I love Virginia, I still roll Sunny and Connie. But yeah, we hear you on that. And Sunny could use a couple of, maybe some more variety in what he can do. Are y'all aware of the Nancy endurance bug? Yes, we absolutely are. It's on the list. It's with the team. The team is, as we say, investigating. Again, that's something that you'll have to keep an eye out. Keep an eye on Muerto Times and patch notes for more information on that. And as soon as it's ready to talk about where that's going, we, of course, will. Can you share ETA on the next victim? I cannot at this time. Timings are not the goal of this stream, but I can say we are working on another victim. Will Julie ever get different makeup colors for different cosmetics? That's a pretty cool idea. Maybe that's something that we could look into in the future. I'm not even sure. There is a chance that the team has already thought on that. But absolutely, our community team, which is in chat and right on the other side of that door, we can propose that feedback to the team for sure. Can we please get a change of hairs? That's another feedback that we've seen. We've talked at great length about hair physics and the problems inherent in that. But, maybe some different hairstyles, that could be cool. Absolutely. On behalf of all the community, can you apologize for everything your community is going through with your game? We never heard sorry. I'm not sure what there is that needs to be apologized for, but if you feel that an apology is needed, absolutely, I'll say it. I'm sorry that you're going through things. I think that it's a tricky thing with the apology topic. Obviously nothing that we do here is rooted in a position of malice or ill intent toward the people that support our games. I think that gets lost in the translation there a bit. I think that a lot of players seem to think that we're either not respective of their feelings or maybe we don't pay enough attention to them. But I can guarantee that even when things don't quite go the way we'd hope they would, it's not because we're sitting back going, yeah, screw it, we're not really worried about that. We appreciate our player base and the people who put faith in us more than I think a lot of you realize. If it's important to you to hear me say I'm sorry, then I'm sorry. And just know that we all love the Texas Chain Saw Massacre as much as you guys do, and we're working as hard as we can on that. Let's get to the next one here. Do you guys play public lobbies? Absolutely we do. Nugget, yeah, some Nugget love there. Absolutely we play public lobbies. Can we get a small buff to stun perks, perhaps? Are you talking about stun resistance perks or perks on the victim side that deal longer stun damage? Let's see here. Somebody said a whole bunch of nothing. I'm sorry this stream didn't really check the box for you, but I feel like we did discuss some good things. Not a question, Matt, but love the shirt. Thank you so much, Deadpool. Will Nancy get her endurance fixed? Absolutely. That's not staying broken. I mean, that would be silly. It's just a matter of when and how that fits in, and obviously unpacking everything that might be going on there. Let's see. Will we see the new Julie and Connie cosmetics soon? Super excited. I'm not sure what the schedule on cosmetics is, and obviously, again, you've heard us talk about not wanting to be too rigid in scheduling those things. But yeah, we definitely have Julie and Connie cosmetics planned. And let me just tell you, they're freaking cool. So I'm a Connie main. I don't get to play Connie much because a lot of people are Connie mains. But yeah, the Connie one is really dope, and it's coming soon. Are there any updates to new maps or any news on the licenses? Nothing that I could share right now. Obviously, Gun is always hunting and hoping for, every license we can. We want to give the players what they want. We hear you guys that you want to see more licenses in the game, and we're always going to try and hunt down all of them. That's a large part of what we do. But also, I think you guys have seen folks like Wes talk about that pretty candidly and transparently on socials, that it's not just a go get rang out for a new license. There's a lot of work in that. Let's see here. I saw something about Grapple that I want to scroll back to, but my scroll isn't working. Oh, no. I think I waited too long on it. If you asked that Grapple question, by all means, hit me again. Will there be any new Grandpa perks? That's a good question. I think that's all kind of intertwined in that bigger perk patch work. I think that there's some opportunity there, knowing what I know about the Grandpa perks. But I can't really confirm whether or not, that's guaranteed or when that would even happen. Let's see here. I have to get to the newer messages because I'm taking way too long to answer these. Johnny's overpowered right now. Yes, I have seen a lot of feedback about the Johnny situation. And I did want to touch on that because there is a significant portion of what I'm seeing that is absolutely latency. I know that's not the answer you guys want to hear. There is a lot of latency in these videos that we're seeing. And you can see it on the family side as well. I want to say Maddie on Twitter shared a really good video of Leland and him being in close quarters in the family house. And then Leland runs upstairs and he's all the way up the stairs. And then the cook, who Maddie was playing as, gets backstabbed. That's a good example of latency and how that presents. And I think that because the family is obviously all melee attack, it presents more on the family attacking victim side. That being said, Johnny right now is often the family member in these videos. So that kind of immediately means that while there is a portion of that's most likely latency, it can't be a coincidence that he's in a lot of these videos. So again, the team's going to have to take a look at things. And because this all sprung up around a patch, there's a high probability of maybe something got tweaked, tuned, or otherwise, something made its way into the game that shouldn't have. And so we're unpacking and looking at that. I know the community team has already been reporting on that to our development partners, and we're working on getting through what's going on. Let's see here. We got when the new family will be ready. Again, I don't have dates on that. Will we see a level cap increase? Absolutely. Let's see here. Do you guys plan on using any content created by the community one day? Characters, skins, and things like that. Maybe doing a contest. We don't have any plans of that. And honestly, that gets into a tricky area. Typically, it's a better bet to continue to try and do what we can on the community side to nurture fan content. I think that you guys do a wonderful job. There's a few out there. I know I can think of Bree and Erica, I want to say, are two of my favorite OCs that I see on socials a lot. So shout out to the people who create those. Obviously, a lot of love and passion goes into that. But we also have a team here creating things that are all within the lore and, match up those lore streams that you guys love so much and all that stuff that we talk about. All of that kind of mashes up in a way that we like to think we create characters that fit in that. And aside from the problems with, sourcing community content and putting that into a game and, all of that. But none of that's to say we don't appreciate it. Obviously, we appreciate all the hard work you guys do. And some of these detailed backstories and things, that's just wild, and we love to see it. Let's see here. A contest would be neat, though. I do think that there's room for us to do a cool contest outside of the game with these original characters. Sure, I think there's something fun we could probably work out there. Matt, do we will have a friends list? Will we have a friends list? I think this would be good. That has a couple of hurdles. I'd have to check in with production on what all that would entail. I know that it was no small undertaking at the time of launch, which is why there isn't one present. I don't know, again, production isn't my particular, department at all. So I would have to check in with them if anything has maybe changed or if there's some kind of new movement on that. But we hear you on it. Obviously, it would be great, but it's not without its problems. Please fix matchmaking. That's something that we're obviously definitely going to be looking into. As we said in the beginning of the stream, we have to get to the bottom of some of these things with lobby dodging, get that kind of off the top. If we can eliminate most of the lobby dodging issues, we can then start to really see what might be happening with matchmaking. But it's awfully difficult when people won't stay put. Are we still getting the Nancy Night House map variant? I cannot confirm or deny anything, but that would be pretty rad. So, can you guys fix Virginia voice when Leatherface hooks her up? Is that the scream? I think that's the scream. We did have a couple of Virginia fixes in the last patch. I want to say one of them didn't make it in for that. I can check on the status of that, though. By all means, hit up the community team about that one, and we'll hopefully have a status update for you. Let's see here. What do we got? Somebody asking about map voting. Map voting is something we're very interested in as part of our work to potentially curb some of the dodging. But again, we have to kind of get through that work. Are the sissy buffs still coming? We have some plans for sissy. Is suffocating grip supposed to work on just the individual with it or for all family members? I feel like it's supposed to work for all family members, but I'll have to look into that further. But I want to say suffocating grip is for all family members. There might be a weird thing with the description there, if I'm not mistaken, on that perk. Can we get limits on button mashing again to eliminate macros? I don't think that caps have been lifted for that. I feel that there is a cap there that leaves room for you to mash, but not to a point where there's I'd have to dig into that further and talk to Prod. But yeah, I feel like Andy from the community team had an answer out about that. And if not, I know he was looking into it already. So I'll check in with Andy when we're done here. Let's see here. You guys do really great with Anna outfit. We really love that. Thank you so much. Huge shout out to Art Bully working on some of these new cosmetics. We're seeing some really cool stuff, and it's making its way to you guys. Again, as I said earlier in the stream, we're targeting every 2 weeks to have a new cosmetic for one or the other victim or family. A quick refresh. Victim cosmetics will stay in the same route, the same kind of pattern that they've been now, which is one outfit and some recolors. The family side is a singular outfit, which is why the family outfit is a little cheaper than the victim one. And those we're targeting every 2 weeks. Will Virginia spawn in with her ability slowly loading like other victims? Will there be weather aspects such as rain be included in the future? Weather aspects are interesting. It's something that we've definitely kicked around. Virginia's cooldown on her ability, because of the way the ability functions, it's not something that we necessarily felt that we strongly needed. But again, excuse me, I brought water and I didn't touch it. I've just been talking this whole time. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Make a wish. The Virginia spawn with her ability slowly loading thing. Yeah, it's not something that we felt was imperative for her to launch, but as with all of these new characters, we keep an eye on them to make sure that if there's opportunities to balance, we will. Let's see if we got any more here. We need Nico's Nancy skin art in game. I love what Nico does. I would have to check out the Nancy skin. I don't think I've seen that yet, but shout out Nico. Will stealth get any love, Matt? We feel that a lot of the changes that we're making kind of are helping nudge stealth a bit, but if you have thoughts, by all means, leave them on the Reddit for us, and the community team will check them out. Will there be new family perks in the future, possibly as part of that larger perk patch? We have to get in there and dig through some of those things, looking at you bringing home the bacon, and figure out what's going, what's staying, what's moving, what's not, blah, blah, blah. Will Virginia's lore be more explored, like what happened to Jesse? There's a ton of lore there. Let me just real quick say that what you guys get in terms of lore is often the tip of the iceberg. Ronnie and Rob, our designers, and our designer and creative director, they are, number one, some of the most in-depth and comprehensive when it comes to putting together lore. They really get into these characters' heads, think through every aspect of them, their personality, why they're there, their motivations. There's so much more to each of them. And when you guys do get those, even those bigger lore drops that you guys have been pretty pumped on, I feel, it's still just the tip of the iceberg. So will it be explored further? That's a question for Ronnie. I don't see any harm in it, but maybe in an upcoming lore stream we'll have Andy and Ronnie back. That would be cool. In-game currency, when? Definitely something we would like to do, but it's definitely not like a throw on the currency switch. That's a pretty big undertaking. So yeah. Right now, let's get through this developer transition and we'll worry about the things like that. Any plans to change exterior alarms to not affect basement doors? That is a piece of feedback that we love. I'm a big fan of that. I like the idea there. Andy brought this up to me recently. Shout out to Andy and whoever it was on the sub. I wish I had your username on the subreddit that brought this up to him, talking about exterior alarms. We're in the process of presenting all of that feedback and getting that to the right people. Now, just because I say I love it doesn't mean that's eventually what's going to happen. There's no one person that makes that call. But it's definitely feedback we're presenting and we're hoping to get to the bottom of soon. What happened to the old Nicotero chainsaw sound during kills? I'm not sure I follow. As far as I know, the actual Nicotero chainsaw sound. Now, if you're talking about when Nicotero Chainsaw had a swapped chainsaw audio on accident, that was an issue with the audio and we fixed that. But Nicotero Chainsaw, as far as I know, only has had one sound. Let's see here. Are the sissy buffs still coming? Okay, we're getting to repeat questions, guys. So, and I'm losing my voice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go drink some water. And you guys are going to take any of these questions that we didn't get to. And please, by all means, hit up the @TX Chainsaw Game on Twitter. Maybe Rob can run the lower third or something with all the info on it. Hit up @TX Chainsaw Game on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. Head over there and engage with our community team. Talk to them about, all of the things you want to know more about. We'll get as many of them answered as possible. The situation that brought this stream on, I just want to say briefly, the situation that brought this stream on we're in a rough spot right now and we're working through it. I'm not pretending like that's not the case. But that being said, I hope that this helped. I know for some of you, you're going to walk away from this feeling that you want to know more, hear more, or you wished for something more concrete, like, well, these are the dates that these things are happening. I get that, and I understand that frustration, and I don't have a reply to it. All I can say is this is what we can do to try to get this, and when I say this, I mean a face behind the camera to talk to you guys and talk through some of this stuff. This is what we can do to hopefully get to a better spot. And other than that, it's a matter of both sides doing the work, and we appreciate you guys bringing us all your feedback, and we're doing all we can to make sure we keep bringing it up to the right folks. That's going to pretty much do it for me today. I look forward to the next check-in, and I look forward to, sharing some more on that new family member, sharing some more on that new execution pack. You guys recall in a past stream we talked about how brutal they are, and I don't think we've seen the most brutal ones yet. So stay tuned, guys. We appreciate you, and thank you for hanging out with me today and getting through this. Take care, gang. Okay.